All right. Hello, old school Texas Tech. How you doing, Jordan?
Doing well, man. I was about to say the land down under. I got my continents and my countries wrong. How is the land of Ecuador?
I'm back south of the equator again. It's good. I've been moving all day. This is actually going to be the last video from this office. So
Maybe wiping a tear away. Oh,
a little bit. I've also taught quite a few English classes, history classes, business classes from this office as well.
good stuff, man. Doing your part in the world.
How's everything in Dallas Fort Worth?
It's like a furnace, Texas in August, hottest
Yeah.
month out here. But it's all good. I'm just glad it's football week, man.
No.
This is one of my favorite weekends all year. I will be like a junkie getting its fix on Saturday. Sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well.
Quite a
All
few
right, so
quite a few Big 12,
what's that?
quite a few Big 12 games and other
I
games.
know. So, for logistical reasons, I'm going to let you read the schedule out, and we're actually going to keep track of this year. So, we will keep track of how Jordan and I are doing with our Big 12 predictions each week. So this is the first week of it, and we'll kind of update everybody on what the record looks like from this point forward.
Do we
I'll
have a
let you read out the Big 12 games, and I'll take a crack at it.
do we have like a friendly wager? Like whoever has a better record at the end of the year has to pay the other person's bills for an entire year or something like
How
that.
about how about $1 through PayPal just for fun?
Okay. I don't know. I may not be able to pay my bills if I do this. Hard.
Yeah. Be
All
careful, bud.
right. Okay, so I have the Big 12 schedule in front of me. Game number one, can I get a drum roll, please? Is the University of New Hampshire versus Central Florida.
I
What's
think
it?
Central Florida is going to be good this year, and that's going to be Central Florida is going to win that game.
Okay. Yeah, they're favored pretty heavily. And then Central Florida's got that quarterback from Arkansas. I didn't realize that. He's pretty
Yeah, I think
good.
they're going to be very good.
Okay, so game two. This one's kind of interesting. You've got Deion Sanders, Colorado Buffaloes versus North Dakota State.
I think North Dakota State's usually pretty good. I remember Tech played them, but yeah, I think Colorado will take care of business at home. But that is an interesting matchup. And boy, it would sure make there's a lot of buzz around Colorado in the offseason. That would sure be a shocker if they lost that first game. But I'm picking Colorado.
Okay. And now game number. So it looks like most of these games are all prime time, but I'll get to the rest of them here in a second. So the next one is Lindenwood versus Kansas. And I'll give you $10 on PayPal right now if you can tell me where Lindenwood is. I'll look it up.
I think if I had to guess, I think it may be Michigan or something, but I've got Kansas winning that game.
Okay. Yeah, that's Kansas. Yeah. Now the next one, also a primetime game, is it looks like Southern Utah versus the Utah Utes.
Yeah, I've actually been in the city where Southern Utah is. I stayed at a hotel there one night, but yeah, Utah's gonna win that game.
Yeah. Okay. And the next one, we are rolling right through these. TCU versus Stanford. Feels like we've talked.
I've got TCU winning. I know that game's on the road for them, but I got TCU winning. I don't think Stanford's gonna be very good.
Yeah, it looks like that one's in Stanford, so in Palo Alto. Okay. Moving right along. So every one of these games that I mentioned is actually a Thursday night game. So
Yep, yep.
so now we're getting into Saturday, and then even so TCU Stanford's Friday night. So the first game on Saturday, it's an early one. It's Penn State versus West Virginia. Should be a good game.
I Yeah, I think West Virginia's going to be good this year, but I think Penn State will win that game. I think Penn State's just going to be just a little bit better. But that's going to be a really interesting game, and it's a tough environment, as we know.
Okay. So the next one is going to be Oklahoma State versus South Dakota State.
Yeah, Oklahoma State will win that one easily.
I don't know, man. They have Ellen Bowman, right? The next one is Cincinnati versus Towson. Yeah, Towson. I guess I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, I did
Ten
their. I
more
want to do their
dollars.
preview.
Ten
Yeah,
more
I've
dollars.
got.
Tell me where Towson is without looking it up.
I don't know. I don't know. So I did see. I watched someone preview that game, and they mentioned it, but I forgot. Yeah, I think the Bearcats will get that win.
Okay. Next game is going to be Iowa State versus North Dakota.
Okay, so now I forget if it's North Dakota State or North Dakota that's good. I know one of them's pretty
It's North
good.
Dakota. It's North Dakota State that's good. That's the one
Okay, okay,
that turned
that's what I
out
thought.
the quarterback that looks like Prince Harry, and then
Yeah.
the guy that's the bust for the 49ers that's now on the Cowboys roster that looks like a bust. Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
Further.
I think Iowa State. Iowa State. I think Iowa State's going to be solid this year.
Yeah, I think every Dakota team is on the schedule for the Big 12 this first week. And the next one after that is going to be Baylor versus the mighty Tarleton State. It's like the Tarleton State Warriors. I don't even know.
Yeah, we played them a few years ago. I think Baylor will win.
Okay. And the next one after that is Kansas State versus, I can't quite tell if this is, it looks like the University of Tennessee Martin. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's who it is. Yeah,
UT Martin Skyhawks.
Kansas State easily. I think Kansas State's going to be really good this year.
Yeah. Okay. We only have a couple left. We're just breezing right through these. The next one is going to be UNLV, so the Running Rebels versus the Houston Cougars.
I like Donovan Smith, but I think there's going to be one shocker, and UNLV is actually supposed to be fairly decent this year, and that's a new coach at Houston. So I'm thinking of what am I going to do? I think I'm going to roll the dice, and I'm going to pick UNLV in an upset.
Interesting. Okay, because
Yeah,
as I'm looking at this one, this is the lowest point spread of any of the Big 12 games all weekend.
yeah, UNLV's got a little juice. So I'm gonna pick. I just think one. It's not anything against Houston, and I think they made a good hire. But I just think there's going to be one upset, and I think this is going to be the upset.
Okay. And I'm going to roll right past to go to. So the next one's going to be BYU versus what looks like Southern Illinois.
Yeah, I think I like BYU to win that game.
Okay.
That's the Salukis, I think. We played them in the NCAA tournament a long time ago.
I believe it is. And we just have a couple left here. So we have Wyoming versus Arizona State.
Yeah, this one if this game were in Laramie, I would pick Wyoming, but it's in Tempe, so I'm going to go Arizona State.
Didn't that coach retire, didn't he? And then didn't a lot of those
He,
guys move on?
but I think that they hired somebody internally. I think it was the defensive coordinator, and I think a lot of those coaches stayed on. So I think Wyoming's going to be pretty decent, but it's going to be at Sun Devil Stadium, so I've got Arizona State surviving. I don't think they'll blow them out though.
Okay. And then we now have Arizona versus the University of New Mexico.
Yeah, yeah. University of New Mexico has a new coach that's getting some attention. I think his name is Mendenhall, but no, maybe that's another one. But anyway, I think Arizona will win that game.
And I left ours off because we'll talk about that later on.
Well, we can go ahead and do it. We
Want
can
to
go
do
ahead
it?
and just
Okay,
do the winner or loss.
so Abilene Christian versus Texas Tech is a hard
Yeah,
one.
I got 10. All right,
So
go for it.
based on my count here, I think you picked all but two Big 12 teams to basically win their opening game.
Right, it was West Virginia. I predicted to lose, and I'm rolling the dice on UNLV upsetting Houston.
Okay. Okay. All right. Now you want me to take a crack at this?
Yeah, go for it.
So starting from the beginning, New Hampshire versus Central Florida. I mean, this point spread is pretty massive. I think Central Florida is gonna pretty much roll them. There's gonna be no mercy. So I think Central Florida wins that one. I mean, North Dakota State versus Colorado. There's no way Colorado is losing that game. It's actually a lighter point spread than I would have thought. Well, it has Colorado by 9.5 on this that I'm looking at. I think Colorado will win that one by probably 2 touchdowns. Kansas versus Lindenwood. I mean, this looks like the biggest point spread of the entire weekend for the Big 12. I think Kansas is going to steamroll them as well. It's going to not even be close. Utah versus Southern Utah. I mean, Utah is going to roll them as well. I think it'll be quite a bit worse than the 38.5 that I see here. TCU, Stanford. I think TCU will win that one handily as well. I think Stanford's been on like a 3-year skid, maybe even a little bit longer than that. They just haven't played good football at all. I don't
Yeah,
think
they don't seem serious about football anymore.
no, then I don't think they may be getting people in the transfer portal, but I don't even think that's the case.
Yeah,
Penn State, West Virginia. I do think Penn State is loaded this year, so they usually are very good. I think that they will be West Virginia.
that's
Uh,
yeah.
Oklahoma State versus South Dakota State. That one's actually a lighter point spread than I would have thought. But then I remember that Alan Bowman's the quarterback for Oklahoma State, so I still think that Oklahoma State will win that one pretty handily. Cincinnati versus Towson. I mean, if anybody knows where Towson is, please tell me. But I think Cincinnati will roll in that one. That one's a pretty hefty point spread as well at 31.5. Iowa State versus North Dakota. I wouldn't be shocked if Iowa State completely like just didn't even let them score a touchdown because Iowa State's usually pretty salty on defense. So I think Iowa State wins that one handily. Tarleton State versus Baylor. I mean, again, Baylor I think is going to roll them. They're basically a 4-touchdown favorite. I think they'll probably win by at least that, maybe even a little bit more. And then Kansas State versus University of Tennessee Martin. That'll be like a glorified scrimmage. I think Kansas State is gonna they're gonna roll them. They'll probably have 450 rushing yards by the third quarter. And then UNLV Houston. I'm gonna bet against you on that one. I'm gonna say Houston is going to beat them and they're gonna narrowly escape. I think they'll beat them by like a field goal late. I could see like a 35-31 or 30, 31-28, something like that. But I think
Certainly
Houston,
possible.
yeah, I think Houston will win that one. Now, Southern Illinois versus BYU. This was a lighter spread than I was expecting, but I think BYU will win that one handily. Wyoming, Arizona State. I think Arizona State is going to win that one handily. Not a huge point spread either that has Arizona State by 6.5. And then Arizona, New Mexico. I saw something where I don't know who this guy was, but he had the ranking of the Big 12 quarterbacks, 1 to 16. I think he had the Arizona QB at number 2 or 3. I think he can fling the ball around a little bit. So I think Arizona beats New Mexico pretty handily. New Mexico historically has not been a very good team. And then last but not least, our Red Raiders versus Abilene Christian. I think Tech wins like in that 45-7 type of score where you see a pretty balanced effort.
All right. So you only have one Big 12 team losing.
Yeah. So basically West Virginia is the only one that I think will lose. And I mean, if we're looking at that schedule, Penn State is by far the most loaded team. I think Penn State would probably beat every Big 12 team right now on that list.
They certainly seem like they're going to be good this year. It's hard to argue that.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll keep track of these as the season goes on. This is not going to be a make it or break week with just one game difference between the two of us. So we'll see how it plays out. All right, so we will see you next week with another round of Big 12 predictions.
Sounds good, my man.